Welcome to AC 24/7. I'm Aaron Dean. 1 year out from the 2024 presidential and congressional campaigns, election night 2023 offered both parties a roadmap for the months ahead. The Advocate Channel's Karen Kaffa breaks down some of the results.
Democrats hold a red state governor's mansion. Some historic electoral firsts and reproductive rights on the ballot made headlines for election night 2023. Ohio delivered another victory for abortion rights activists in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court's 2022 decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The state became the latest to enshrine abortion rights in its constitution with the projected voter approval of a ballot measure on the issue. It was a sign reproductive rights remain a key issue for voters, even in a state like Ohio, which has trended Republican in recent years. In Kentucky, Democrat Andy Beshear bucked the red state's trends and will serve a second term as governor. He fought off a challenge by Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron, a Republican who had the backing of former President Donald Trump and Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell. Beshear's victory, even as Republicans won statewide contests for Secretary of State and to succeed Cameron as Attorney General. Election night 2023 also yielded some historic firsts. Democrat Gabe Amo, a former aide to President Biden, will be Rhode Island's first black U.S. representative. The special U.S. House election was to succeed former Democratic Congressman David Cicilline, who stepped down this summer. And Democrat Sherelle Parker will be the first woman to serve as Philadelphia's mayor. Now both parties have some turnout trends to sort through as they gear up for the national election year in 2024. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and Virginia among the states that held statewide contests this year and will have plenty of those suburban swing districts that will be up for grabs in 2024. On Capitol Hill, I'm Karen Kaffa.
Washington, D.C. is once again facing another possible financial collapse. Speaker Mike Johnson and GOP lawmakers in the House went through a series of ideas Tuesday, including a short-term spending bill through January 19th. If some Republicans in the House are against any sort of short-term spending bill, Johnson would need Democratic support, and that might be an uphill climb. Johnson has until November 17th to deal with his conference, the Democratic-controlled Senate, and the Biden White House. Meanwhile, Americans are piling up record credit card balances, and many are falling behind on those payments. Credit card balances hit more than $1 trillion during the third quarter, leaping by a record $154 billion from the year before. That's according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's latest quarterly report on household debt and credit. The year-over-year increase is the largest since the New York Fed started tracking that data in 1999. Household debt increased by 1.3% in the third quarter, but a growing number of households are having difficulty wrangling that debt, which is increasingly more costly amid persistent inflation and high interest rates. Now to another sombering report on climate change. Europe's climate monitoring reports October was the warmest month on record. Scientists say the average temperature last month was 3.1 degrees Fahrenheit higher compared to a period in the late 1800s before the start of the Industrial Revolution. October is now the fifth straight month that global temperatures have hit record highs. The Copernicus Climate Change Service says 2023 is on track to be the warmest year ever, sounding the alarm on rising air and ocean temperatures. Each has the capacity to trigger violent hurricanes and tropical storms around the planet. Now to the big changes at the Smithsonian's National Zoo in Washington, D.C. The zoo's 3 giant pandas are heading back to China. Their departure marks the end of more than 50 years of Chinese pandas being housed at the National Zoo, which was the first U.S. zoo to showcase the bears. Zoo staff call it a hiatus for the program, and they remain hopeful China will send more bears. However, U.S.-China relations have worsened over the years, and Chinese officials have yet to say whether the panda diplomacy will continue. Thanks so much for watching AC 24/7. I'm Aaron Dean.